Well, today being the beginning, let us take it to be just an introduction of my subject to you. But I very much wonder whether you will understand what I have to say to you. This is due to difficulty in pronunciation, perhaps, but I hope that in a few days you will be able to grasp my idea. Before I say anything to you, I would like to express my gratitude to your revered teacher, Mr. Bennett, who has so kindly given me this opportunity to be with you today. And I should not fail to thank my friend Mike and Tim, who are actually instrument for bringing about the contact between I and Mr. Bennett. The subject which I would like to bring before you is about the life and the teaching of the Buddha. But I would like to say frankly to you that I don't believe much in lecturing and teaching. Let us put it that we are sharing, I am sharing with you whatever I have. Let us put like that. And I am happy to bring before you the life and the teaching of one of the greatest teacher of the world, that is the Buddha. If you try to follow me properly, you will not fail to understand the affinity between the teaching of the Buddha and the teaching of Christ. And you will be surprised to know that perhaps you have heard from my friend Mike and Tim that we are every year celebrating Christmas Day at my mission there in Delhi. And this should be enough for you to understand my view about the teaching of Christ and the teaching of the Buddha. I do not need to go in detail about this. You should understand my understanding about the teaching of Christ vis-a-vis the teaching of Lord Buddha. About 2089 years ago, one of the greatest men that the world has ever produced was born in India. About 5 days after he was born, he was given the name of Siddhartha. Siddhartha means one who will have his desire fulfilled. He was born in the ruling family of a Himalayan kingdom called Kapilavatthu. Of course, that kingdom is no longer in existence. It's just the name, and the ruin is still there to be seen. It is situated about 5 miles away from Lumbini. Lumbini is the birthplace of this Prince Siddhartha. Before I go into detail about the life of this prince, I would like to just bring before you about the similarity of the belief. That is to say, the Buddhists also believe in three things, like you people, you believe in the Trinity. So Buddhists also, and here it is very important to know and to do some study in order to understand the what you call the affinity between all these great religions. In the world today, we have 4 great religions. That is to say, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam. And for a Buddhist, he must believe in 3 things. That is to say, we have Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, 3. These we call refuges. A Buddhist must take refuge in these 3 things. We call thrice sacred gems: Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And you, your Trinity, you have God Father, the Holy Ghost, and the Son, that is Jesus. In Hinduism, they have also like a Trinity, like you have. That is to say, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. 3 things. Islam also, they have 3 things also. They believe in that. You cannot be a Muslim without believing. The first thing is God, Allah, Creator. And then Quran, Holy Quran. And the third one, Muhammad, the Prophet. Now 3. And if you try, we try to study, to understand why all of them believe in 3 things. This is the most important thing. There must be some close affinity among them somewhere, which we have to find out. And there, actually, to me, I have to say to you that I don't believe that there is any different religion. I believe that there is only one religion. That is to say, humanity. Why I say this? Because if you study deeply, you will find that Buddha never attempted to establish any religion. So did Christ, and also Muhammad. Of course, we cannot say about Hinduism, because it is a bit complicated. The Hindu believe in God creator, that is called Ishwar. But they say that the same Ishwar, when he performs the function of creating, then he becomes Brahma, assume the name of Brahma. Now when it comes to preserving the world, the same Ishwar, the same God, assumes the name of Vishnu. Then when he performed the name of a destroyer, then he became what you call Maheshwar. So, creator, preserver, and destroyer. Sound quite good also, but a bit complicated about that. So, anyway, it is a good case for the historian to find out the affinity between all these religions. I have come across a book in the United States, and I was so surprised, written by the Christian, saying that Christ was the Buddha, or in other words, Buddha was born as Christ. So here, it is like the theory of incarnation. In Hinduism, there is a book called Purana. In that, it is said that God manifested himself into this world, first of all, in the form of fish. Now, the first incarnation, the first manifestation. And then came to tortoise. Now, fish you can understand, of course, it may take some time to explain to you that even now, if we look back, even now, children have learned from the school about geography, which teaches that there are 3 times more of water than the earth in the world today. 3 times more of water than the earth. Now, if we look back and suppose that in the beginning it might be all water, when there was only water, what kind of life could exist in the water? Fish. So there's nothing wrong about that. We can just take it for granted. It was all right. Then gradually, when the earth began to form, now there need be a life which can or could exist in the water as well as on the earth. What was that? Tortoise. So I think it's look like something connecting with the law of evolution also. In this case, gradually it changed from fish to tortoise. Now from tortoise to a bull, a pig, which can also swim as well as living on earth. Now from the bull, it went a step further, the progress, to what you call centaur, that is half man, half animal, one step. Another step further became a dwarf, full man but dwarf. Then from dwarf become, that is they call Parusarama. That is a man with big body and strong also physically, but less brain. Now this is according to that. I'm just telling you. You have to think over. I do not know what they mean about that. And from that, a step further, that is, it is said that came Rama. I do not know whether you know about Rama. You see, there are now, I think in your country, so many of them who follow the creed of Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. And so this Ram is worshipped by the Hindu as also God incarnated, Ram. And Ram, full-size man, with also intelligent, but taking to more of hunting and doing such thing. Now from Rama, a step went further to Krishna, and you must be also knowing about Krishna. Krishna was a bit of politician and warrior as well. Now from Krishna came the Buddha. Of course, Buddha, you know, he was a man of peace and intelligent. That's in the last avatar. Of course, according to this book, this theory, there are in this line 10 avatara, but 9 of them had come to the world. It remained one more. That's called Kalka. But in the Buddhist belief that there will be another Buddha that is called Maitreya Buddha. So here, Maitri means friendship. Friendship. The Buddha to come will be friend with everybody in the world. That is what it is expected like that and believed like that. Now this is how we believe and how all religion you will find that we have, if we try to study deeply, you will find that what I have just now said, that actually there is no religion, because Buddha never attempted to establish any religion, nor Christ. This is we people, I think we created all these religions. And the history of early religion is also, I must say, sad affair about the early religion. There are many good that religions brought about to this world, but there are other bad points as well. The one thing is that I feel that religion to a great extent divided people. What we need today is one religion. That religion you may call brotherhood of man. We are all brothers. We are all sisters. If we try to understand deeply, analyze our physical body, let us put to test and try to find out what's the difference between yours and mine. Biologically, physically, there is no difference about that. We differ from one another only in the level of thinking. You may think better than me, which may, of course, different between you and me in the level of thinking. Physically, there is no difference. So, now let me proceed a bit about the life of the Buddha, not too detailed, just to give you as an introduction. What made him to leave home or to renounce the world, so to say? There are people who left home for various reasons known to them. But this man, what he had in mind to leave home, here there are different views, different ideas about leaving home, whether one should leave home or one should remain at home. Well, it is up to all of us to think about how far can we do or practice whatever you want to practice at home, what amount of work you can do at home. It is good if we can achieve our goal by remaining at home. There is nothing like it. But there are reasons that impel a man to leave his home, to renounce everything. Prince Siddhartha was born as a prince, so to say, in the laps of plentiness, with silver spoon in the mouth, so to say. But he was a man who was not satisfied with what he possessed. He was a man who observed and who thought about what he saw all around him. But of course, this must have been due to his previous karma, that is to say, previous action, previous work he did in previous life, cultivated and developed in his previous life, that made him to think about this suffering world and to seek remedy to heal the suffering of the world. The most important thing that struck his mind was that what is the difference between he himself and all the people living around him? Why was he born in plenty, whereas others are living in poverty, ignorance, diseases, suffering from all sort of suffering, from disease, from poverty, ignorance, illiteracy, everything. Now what was the difference between he himself and other people? Why others are so leading such a miserable life and he was so happy that he did not know what to do with what he possessed? Now here, this is the problem facing him, and he wanted the answer to this question. He had discussed the matter with the wise men in his kingdom, but he was not satisfied with their reply, with their answer. This thinking, this searching for the answer to this question grew in him to the extent that he found that at home he would not be able to solve this problem because he was disturbed every time when he started to ponder about this problem. He was disturbed by so many things. Of course, it is said also in our history book that before leaving home, he went about to the village, to the market, in his chariot, with his charioteer, to see. And there, the first thing he saw about an old man. And then he saw a sick man. He saw a dead man. It is said like that. This also, I think that he must have seen before also. He must have seen that even his own father was growing older and older. He must have seen in his palace some sick man. But of course it was not right. The time was not right at that time for him to leave home. But when he saw, and he was trying to, when he saw all those signs, now his trouble was increasing, and he had a greater urge for finding the solution or the answer to all those suffering, how he could help those people. And it is said that at the last moment he saw the vision of a monk who looked serene, calm and quiet. And he appeared to him to be the man who had found the answer which he was looking for. So he at once decided that he must take that step to follow that monk and search for the answer. He said that a son was just born to him. When a son was born, he thought that the longer he remained at home, the greater will be his difficulty in living. Actually, Rahula, name of his son, means something like the obstacle, the bondage that will bind him down to the wheel of worldly life. And he was thinking that what was to be done very deeply, whether he should leave home or he should remain at home. When he tried his best to solve the problem at home by discussing with the wisest men of his time, and he failed to be convinced, he was thinking that it's worthwhile if he could find a solution. It will be the solution for the whole world, whole mankind, not for himself alone. If he remain at home, he will be useful for just to his family. But he did not want to serve just his family. He wanted to serve the world as a whole, serve mankind. By having this idea in his mind, he had decided in favor of mankind instead of confining to his own family alone. That is called Mahafinisakramma, that is to say, the great renunciation took place. The decision made. He called his charioteer named Channa to bring his steed. And in the dead of night, they left. When they came to a river that is called Niranjara river, he got down, cut his hair short, removed all his jewelry, ornament, and clothes and all other things, exchanged with the dress of his charioteer, and put on the dress of his charioteer, and gave away all his dress and jewelry to him with the horse. There he went away. And it was said that the horse was so overwhelmed by the separation and he broke down and died then and there on the spot. Channa also did not want to return home. And it was said that the packet of jewelry and all other things, he hung it somewhere and quietly followed his master instead of returning home. Then he donned the garb of a mendicant, went about wherever he heard that there was any good teacher. He went there, placed himself under him, learned what the teacher had to teach him. He gathered, of course, knowledge from them, but were not satisfied because the answer to the question, to his question, was not found. He left. One teacher after another had undergone this serious asceticism amounting to self-mortification, but nothing helped him to find the answer. Then he came to Buddhagaya. You must have heard, the place where he attained the enlightenment and became Buddha. He left all hope of getting or meeting any good teacher. Came alone to Buddhagaya. There he met 5 Brahmins, and it will be interested to tell you something about those 5 Brahmins. One of them, the leader of the group of 5, was one of the best astrologers of the kingdom, who predicted this prince when he was just born. Predicted that one day he will become a great teacher. When the news of the renunciation of the prince, he followed because he thought and he was sure that the prince will achieve his goal and he would benefit by his achievement. Then he spoke to his friend, but all others, they died. Only their children, their sons, were living. 4 of them joined him, and they followed him and came to Buddhagaya. When they came to Buddhagaya, he found him practicing the severest penances, asceticism, like practicing that breathing exercises by retaining the air, closing all passages, that is to say, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the ears, everything closed. By closing all the passages, the air moving inside, producing noise, and created severe headache to the extent that he fainted and fell down. But at that time, it was believed that breathing the way he did was one of the means that would lead him to achieve his goal. Now, after gaining experience about this severe practice of breathing, he found that it was not the right path. He left it. Then was thinking that perhaps it was due to eating too much. Then he started reducing food, day by day, reducing to the extent of, at last, he had only just 1 grain of rice a day. He became just a skeleton. And there was an image of that stage. We still have in India, just a skeleton. You can see the ribs, you can see all the bones and all of it, nothing, I mean, no flesh, no blood. To that extent that he did. Here, very interesting also that this is the experience that he had gained. That is why when he became Buddha, he taught other people that was not the way, the right path. Then he found out in this way, in his mind, he gained experience by doing all these practices, that it is not the way to torture your physical body. It must go through the mind. Now, as the mind and body are closely interconnected, when the body is weak, mind also is weak. When it has to seek or to find through the mind, the process of thinking of the mind, of the thought, he had to give up and started taking food. Now, I will relate a story about the 5 Brahmins who served him at that time. They were very pleased, very happy with his practice, and thought confidently that they will stand to gain, and the prince will certainly achieve his goal, will attain the enlightenment, and they would stand to gain by that. But when they saw him giving up the practice, all those practices, they thought that now it is useless for them to serve him. And all of them deserted him. From Bodh Gaya, they came to Benares, a place which is called Saranath. Now, it is useless to serve him with all the practices that he did. He could not achieve anything. How could he achieve anything now when he returned to be a greedy fellow, greedy for food? So that what they thought, then left him. He remained behind alone at Bodh Gaya. And there was a Bodhi tree. It's called People Tree. I do not know if some of you must have seen in India and Bodh Gaya, big tree. He took bath, cleaned his body well, and began to sit with the determination of his mind that he says in his mind that I shall never get up from this seat until I attain the enlightenment. Let my flesh, my blood dry. I shall never get up from this seat till I attain enlightenment. that determination. It happened that at that time there was one girl, the daughter of the head man of that village. She had some wishes and came to pray the deity supposed to be dwelling in that tree, and asked to fulfill her wishes. One was that she must have a good husband, a kind and good husband. 2, her first child must be a son. And if these wishes are fulfilled, she will bring the best offering to the deity of that Bodhi tree. Now she had her wishes fulfilled and was preparing to offer to the deity of that big tree. On that very day, very morning, she made what you call rye milk or milk rye, whatever you call it, sweet, and with that came to make the offer. When she came, she saw the Buddha sitting there. The first sight, she thought that it was the deity himself who came to receive her offering. Very happy, and went and bowed down and offered the sweet rice. And Buddha took it. He ate. And of course, when he became the Buddha, he praised so much about the food that he received from that girl. He then sat in meditation. Here, very important thing about what did he see in his meditation, and how he attained that enlightenment to entitle him to be called the Buddha. That was a very, very important part of it. Now, it is said that in that night in which he attained the enlightenment as the Buddha, that night was divided into 3 parts. That is called watches. The first watch, the second watch, and the third watch. In the first watch, he attained the insight, or you may call the light, the wisdom, the knowledge, that is called in Pali Pubbe Nivasa Nusati Jnana. Pubbe Nivasa Nusati Jnana means that the knowledge which enable him to see his past life, not only his own, but he saw the past life of all beings, how they came into being and how they went away from the world and how they came to the world again. Now, he saw all those things. That is called Pubbe Nivasa Nusatiyan. That's why he understood that how we are born and how we die and how we come again to life and rebirth took place and so on. This is the first watch of the night. And the second watch of the night, he attained another light or enlightenment, you may call. That is to say that it is called Asavakhayayan. That is the wisdom, the light that enables him to clear or to clean himself of all what you call pure and white. It is like this. Asavakhayayan, asavakha means something like a color, like a paint, like you color this cloth is colored with red color, and we people all over the world, the people mind, the people heart is colored with some what you call impurity. I do not know whether you can grasp my idea. The mind, the heart of every man is colored by some what you call impurity, by one thing or another. Is not so pure, so white as a white cloth. And this knowledge that he attained in the second watch of the night made him pure his heart and his mind, pure, clean of any impurity, and it become white. The last one, that is, of course, the Buddhists consider to be the most important discovery that Lord Buddha has made. That is about the Four Noble Truths. What are they? They are, first of all, the existence of suffering in the world. The world is not without suffering. The existence of suffering, the first one. The second one, the cause of suffering. Suffering exists on account of cause. Suffering has its cause. Now we discovered that. The third one, when the cause is known and is removed, suffering will automatically cease to exist. It exists because the cause exists. It is like a tree. If you cut the root of the tree, it will die. So suffering has its root But how to cut the root? Now there are another part that is called Majjhima Pratipada Marga. That is to say, the middle part that will lead to remove the cause, to cut the root of suffering. Now you can see that at the beginning he was trying to find a solution or the answer to this suffering world. And now this is he has found. And you find that more or less Buddha teaching concern more or less about suffering and removing of suffering. Now here suffering we call dukkha. Dukkha suffering. Dukkha samudaya, the cause of suffering. Dukkha nirodha, the cessation of the suffering. Now, I would like to say just a few words more about this suffering, this dukkha, Pali word, Sanskrit word also, dukkha, Pali also dukkha. And now this dukkha has no equivalent in any language. When we say suffering, we do not represent the whole list of dukkha. This dukkha covers so many things, like a dissatisfaction, disappointment, discontentment, frustration, sorrow, despair, and all these things come in this. Come within the meaning of this dukkha. I think let us add this, and if there is any question, I will try my best to
complete the night of enlightenment. If we come to the end of the night of enlightenment.
Yes, this is all this enlightenment. He has attained the enlightenment now. He has become the Buddha. But then, you see, when he has become fully Buddha, he did not get away from the Bodhi tree. He remained there for about 7 weeks, just pondering about his discovery, and was thinking as to, because he found also that what he had discovered was very profound and was not very satisfied with the condition of the world, whether the world would understand him or not. Was pondering and looking for who were the fittest men to receive this. Pondering. Look back to his teachers. He found that they were all dead. Then who else? Then he found out that those 5 Brahmins who served him and deserted him to Benares were the fittest to receive the first sermon. That's why in Benares, and we call the first sermon was preached by him in Benares and Sarnath, so to say. And next month, the London Buddhist Vihara is celebrating this first sermon, and they have invited me to speak also on that day. The first sermon, very important and very interesting about his sermon, what he said. And very interesting about his meeting with those 5 Brahmins who deserted him. But they rejected him all right. They didn't want to meet him at the beginning, because they thought that, oh, how could he achieve anything when he had given up all the good practices and returned to be a greedy for food, for this, for that. So they thought like that. That's the belief that they did not know that he had attained Buddhahood, but he went to him, toward him. First they thought not to receive him, but when he came to them, they forgot all what they thought. They received him, but did not want to listen to him. I will this is the next. If you have any question, you may do so, and I will try my best to answer. But of course, I don't promise that I will answer all the questions. Any question which I feel I cannot answer, I will tell you frankly that I can't answer. Yes.
You said something about having the root of suffering, and then you said something about the cause, and I didn't quite understand what you meant. I don't know if I understood the word even that you used.
Yes. You need also to understand what is the root of suffering. That is true, you are right. Here, according to our understanding, the root of suffering is craving, is thirst, craving for this, thirst for that, endlessly. But you understand craving as want, the desire for this, desire for that, endlessly. Now here, it goes like this. It is like you have a circle or a wheel like that. And it is difficult to break the wheel or to come out of the wheel. That is why you see in Buddhism, they represent the world, the universe, in the form of a wheel. And they believe that it is difficult to get out of this wheel. So, first of all, there is a desire in that wheel also. When there is desire, when there is want, say for instance, you want anything, but you cannot get anything without working for it. If you want anything, you have to work for it. You cannot just sit and want. You must work for it. that working come to karma. Now from want to work. Now when you work, your work will bear fruit. Whether it is sweet or it is bitter, it will bear the fruit. You understand that? Now when you reap the bitter fruit, naturally you want to avoid not to taste the bitter again. The bitter fruit you don't want to have it again and again. You want to avoid. If you have sweet one, you want to get it again and again. Now the want, whether you want to avoid or you want to get it again, it is a want. Now when there is a want, it comes to again to the work. You have to work to get your want fulfilled. Now when you work, when you do anything, that work produces fruit. It goes round like that. Want, work, and the fruit of the work, and again want either to avoid or to get it again. Now, it goes on like that, round about. And this world represented or symbolized by the wheel, it means that we are moving. We are not getting out of the wheel of the world, we are moving. We are reborn, we die, we reborn again into this world. This is, of course, what we believe. Of course, it will take time for me to tell you how you believe, how I believe, or we believe in that. What is the proof of the belief in rebirth and all of the things? That will take some time. But of course, we are quite convinced that the life continues is not death at the death is not. It is only the physical body that dies. The spirit, the soul remain to continue. And you cannot end so easily at will until unless you reach that stage. That is called, we the Buddhists call nirvana, nibbana, nirvana. Until unless you reach that, then alone you can be free from the circle or the cycle of death and rebirth. Otherwise, no. I do not know whether any one of you has made a study, comparative study of the Buddha and Christ.
You said something about the importance of finding a way to have something, some kind of religion which would be common for everyone. You spoke about that as being humanity. And yet, I know in our Christian world, and I suspect too in the Buddhist world as well, what inevitably happens with people is that no sooner does something begin than it immediately splits into a million separate groups and sects and divisions and parties, and it seems almost inevitable that happens. Could you say something of a practical kind about how we face that?
You see, this is the most important question which has to be solved by what we call mankind itself. It's not a job for individual. Now the difficulty of the world today is that there are so many people who would not share our view and our way. There are still people somewhere who still look at each other, at the other, with suspicious eye. Very few, though, in this scientific world, which has made actually this world so small, comparatively speaking, because we can reach each other very quickly. Without the help of science, perhaps I may not be able to reach you at all. So there is good in that. Well, everything has its own good and its own bad also. That is why it is the duty of every one of us to work for that understanding. We talk too much about, like in India also, they talk about brotherhood, about oneness of man, but just talk. But in the heart, they are separated like anything. Because you know very well, in India, people believe in caste system. And you know how much caste system divide the people themselves into various watertight compartments. And then yet you talk about oneness. How it can be one? When you are Brahmin, I am Kshatriya, another man is Vaishya, then others are Sudra, untouchable, and this and that. You cannot. Now here the difficulty that stand on our way. But of course it is not beyond our capacity to cultivate that understanding, to develop in our mind and in our heart. It is only the mind and heart that can change a man, not his talk or his idea or anything much, but it's the mind, it is the heart. A man is a changed man only when he changes his mind, his heart, his attitude. That is all, nothing else. You cannot change your name, you cannot change the name of your religion or the name of anything that will do anything without changing your mind and your heart. Now why? Now how? Let us think over how Christ could perform miracle, or Buddha, say for instance. We say he performed miracle. Formerly, when I was not so well informed, I didn't believe in miracle, but now I believe. But Christ could do, Buddha could do. But we have to think, why could they do? That is again mind, because they were able to change the mind of a man, change the heart. The Buddha could make a robber into a saint. It's not impossible, provided that you can change the mind of a man, change his heart, change his mind, his attitude, that is all.